Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Roll the clip, editor Gabe. Now, I am going to predict, based on some other things that I've heard, we have an Indie World Wednesday. That is going to be my guess, and I bet you hear it announced tomorrow. I told you, Indie World is happening, but so much more is happening too, including new controllers, new reports, and of course, new games. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy the show. It helps out a lot. And let me know what you're thinking and what you're hoping to see in those comments down below. If you're new here, welcome aboard. Trust SwitchForce, because we pretty much always get it right. We know what's going on. I got feelers in the right places, and Indie World is dropping tomorrow, May 11th at 10 a.m. This is very exciting because it's the first Indie World in nearly 6 months and pushed back from its normal March or April spring timeframe. What will they show in their 20 minutes of footage? Nobody knows. And to celebrate, we are live streaming tomorrow's Indie Direct presentation. It kicks off at 10, but we're gonna go a little earlier at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. All right, there's a link in the description down below, so make sure to click it, bookmark it, and join me tomorrow for Nintendo's surprises. Could Inscription release on Switch? That would be a great indie get. And what other magical things does Nintendo have? Maybe a new collab with one of their properties, kind of like Cadence of Hyrule did a few years ago. We will have to wait and see, but we'll see it together. And I'm getting up at 6:30 a.m. for all y'all, so I hope you'll meet me there. I'll be sleepy, but it will be worth it. For everybody that's really fingers crossed for Hollow Knight Silksong, I'll tell you again, I don't think it's gonna happen. Let's just be super surprised if it does and expect it not to. What will we see tomorrow? I don't know. There's a lot of interesting candidates, but I will put forth one more prediction. I believe Card Shark will be a surprise drop tomorrow. That game from Devolver has kind of been waiting in the wings for a bit now. The demo was very well received, and I am super eager to play it. Please stealth drop Card Shark. I will definitely gobble you up. In terms of other things, I think we'll see a lot of brand new titles. Nintendo does not usually like to double dip unless the game is releasing. So if we see Sports Story or Hollow Knight, it's gonna be out, I think, at least almost immediately. But I would guess that those are going to be saved for separate announcements or separate directs. Let me know in the comments what game you want to see. And again, make sure to join me for tomorrow morning's live stream. There's a link in the description, and we're going to have a little Nintendo presentation party. Now, speaking of parties, there was a Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak party this morning with a big presentation showing off more of Malzeno and a bunch of other big monsters. Now, Malzeno is looking menacing. He's bloodthirsty, he's ready to go, and the environments look ridiculously good, especially that lava area. I love that and that beastie the most. But surprisingly, Monster Hunter announced that not only do they have Amiibo and deluxe editions and DLC, but they've got another Pro Controller. Yup, Pro Controller is back for Monster Hunter again. I mean, look, we already have a Monster Hunter Pro Controller, and we're gonna get a second one. Yet most Nintendo franchises don't even have a Pro Controller. There's no Mario Pro Controller. There's no Zelda Pro Controller. There's very few special Pro Controllers at all, and now Monster Hunter Rise has two. This one is the gold version that released with the base game, and the next Malzeno version is going to be the silver version. Personally, I like the gold better, but the silver with the little batty bat type creatures is quite the alluring proposition. I have every Pro Controller. We're probably gonna have to add to the collection, but Nintendo, I beg you, these are super cool. The way they emboss the art on here and it's kind of see-through, like the Pro Controller is one of the best customs Nintendo has ever made, and I'd love for them to do it for something of their own. They did it for Splatoon 2 way back when, and Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but more franchises need some pros, and I think with all these people buying Switches, inevitably you want them to upgrade to your premier controller, and who would you like to see on the Pro? I think Zelda is the must. Like Breath of the Wild 2 better get a super sick Pro Controller, maybe even themed after Link's mysterious arm. Wouldn't that be sweet? Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, though, looks very sweet. It's out on June 30th, and that is a nice another addition to this summer. All right, let's talk about Nintendo's big call, because in the middle of the night, while we were all sleeping, they were busy doing some work. And that work, wow, it really shows the strength of this system and its games. We got a lot of important updates, including now the total number of Switches out there, 107 million. 107 million. They are creeping ever closer to the PS4. And after that, man, it's like It's just the handhelds. It's just the handhelds. This system is so super successful, and I am so glad for it. In terms of specific numbers, the OLED is still kind of not where I thought it would be. All right, in the last year, they sold about 13.5 million regular Switches, about 3.5 million Switch Lites, and 5.8 million OLEDs. So it's more popular than the Switch Lite, but it's also brand new. And I mean, I don't know, I guess I thought there'd be more of a demand for a prettier Switch, but I guess it just does not do as much. I love my OLED, but it seems like it might be time for them to release a true substantial upgrade. We'll talk about that at a different time, but let's talk about the games, because Kirby, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and Metroid made big marks. Now, Metroid Dread did not reach the coveted 3 million point yet, but it's at 2.9, and it's the best-selling Metroid of all time, so that's a huge achievement, and it's gonna easily clear 3. These numbers are reporting as of the end of March 2022. So it probably already is there. It's been April and a little bit of May. It's probably almost assuredly past 3 million. But that's great for that franchise and bodes well for maybe a follow-up on Switch, or at the very least, Metroid Prime 4, which is still listed as coming sometime soon, Nintendo, whenever you are ready. Now, Pokemon Legends Arceus was the big winner of the period, selling nearly 13 million copies, 12.64 million units through March. Okay, so that means just the very tail end of January and February and March, basically 2 months, it pushed nearly 13 million. Pokemon is unstoppable, and this one now is going to enter the top 10 very soon, and I bet Scarlet and Violet does as well, and then it's gonna be a top 10 just completely gobbled up by the Pokemon franchise. Because Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl usurped Pokemon Let's Go, enters the top 10 and is at 14.5 million copies. They sold like 30 million copies of Pokemon in the last year, which is insane. Absolute madness. Pokemon is the freight train that never slows down, and I bet Scarlet and Violet, it could do the best. The starters look insane, it's truly open world, the graphics look substantially improved. If Pokemon Legends Arceus' success is anything to go off of, Gen 9 is gonna be the one where it just rockets up there and maybe reaches the heights of Smash Bros. And Breath of the Wild in terms of sales numbers. Now let's not forget about our fine pink friend, because this game sold really well as well. 2.65 million units so far, putting it right on pace to pass Kirby Star Allies as the best-selling Kirby on Switch, and that's gonna happen soon, because remember, this game came out March 25th, so in 2 weeks, it sold over 2.1 million units, which is fantastic. It's got a bit of a ways to go to be the best-selling Kirby game, which is Kirby's Dream Land, the first Kirby, way back on Game Boy. That one pushed 5.13 million units, and so we gotta kind of double up where we're at right now. But with a whole year and many years, honestly, ahead of us, Kirby and the Forgotten Land could easily become the best-selling Kirby as well. It is just a system of jackpots. You put the new franchise on the Switch, boom, it becomes the best in the franchise. It's just awesome to see for Samus, for Kirby, for Link, for everybody. And now the top 10 is stronger than ever before. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe continues to sell, surpassing 45 million copies sold. Animal Crossing New Horizons is creeping ever closer to 40, now at 38. And Ring Fit is about to get bumped out of the top 10 by Pokemon Legends Arceus. And then Scarlet and Violet as well might knock Pokemon Let's Go out of its own place in the top 10. The long and short of it is that Nintendo is rocking. And despite them cutting their projections for total Switch hardware sales by a little bit, it's still gonna be a phenomenal year. We've got an indie world, we've got an upcoming Direct. It is a big time for Nintendo, and I think they're about to deliver some really big punches. Make sure to join me tomorrow for that show, but now let's talk about our poll, which is about 2 of the games that sold super well, Legends Arceus and Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and I wanna know which game you enjoyed more so far this year, Pokemon Legends Arceus or the newest Kirby. And 64% of you picked Pokemon Legends Arceus. 36% picked Kirby, myself included, because I just found the game to be so darn charming, and I just whisked my way right to the end. I loved all the power-ups. I loved the weird levels, how it was like apocalyptic, and that just didn't match up with Kirby's cutesy, but it worked so well. I just found it to be such a fun gameplay experience, which I really appreciated. Both games are great though, and it's gonna be a fantastic next few months of releases as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to let me know what you're thinking about in the comments down below. I'll see you tomorrow for Indie World, and until next time, everybody, thanks again for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. SwitchForce, out.